Well, for me, I've been concerned about this ever since school days and reading Rachel Carson's Silent Spring. I think it was about 2000 when I realised so little was happening. Kyoto didn't seem to have made a difference. And then my first peak oil conversation, I think, was with Peter Lippman on the Downs, and I'd never heard of it. But the triggering event for me was somebody who I didn't know, who lived quite close to me, called Hamish. He hand-delivered a letter to about 500 households saying, does anybody else feel there's all this stuff in the news about climate change and peak oil, but nothing's happening, and I'm keen to talk to other people who feel the same and are working out what we could do in our own lives and at an individual level. So about 20 of us contacted Hamish to say we feel the same. And to cut a long story short, that turned into a group called Sustainable Redland, which is now a registered transition initiative. And it's been very joyful because we've found creative things to do, like setting up a farmer's market, joining a community orchard, starting a gardeners club, having a carbon club. We've had about 25 events, I think, with talks or films. We've just got way better informed. And now I'm involved at Bristol level as well to take it to a more serious, how do we really engage people in Bristol to reimagine the city as it needs to be to survive peak oil and climate change.
When you first started, what was the most surprising thing that happened? Unexpected.
I think the unexpected thing was how by getting just a very disparate group in terms of age, gender, background, political leaning, we just sat down and started learning together. And initially you could tell people were thinking, how am I going to get on with these others? But once you all learnt together, you found you could all work together. I think that was the thing that surprised me the most.
Would you say there was a common need or a common vision, maybe?
Yes, we realised that actually we all cared about the same thing. And the thing that's helped the most, I think, is making sure we do creative activities together rather than we don't have a group that meets. We had one official meeting to agree our constitution and set up a bank account, but otherwise we garden together or have workshops or run big open days or work in the community orchard together, but we don't meet as a committee in any sense or form. That helps a lot.
How many people are in the group now?
There's 150 people on our Yahoo group discussion board, which is how we do a lot of our ideas generation. In terms of who's ever been to some kind of sustainable Redland activity, I should think total of about 500. And people who really give serious time to it, there's about a dozen of us.
Do you have a budget yet?
One of the things that makes it possible in a middle-class place like Redland is people just give their own time, they pay the printing costs themselves, we all chip in. Every time we have an event, we say bring £3 to cover the cost of meeting her. We got a donation of £1,000 to cover the setting up of our website. That was from a charitable trust. And in a way, we're what's called fourth sector. We do it in our own time, and at Bristol level there it's more difficult. We need more funding to take it on at a Bristol level.
How are you going to meet the politicians and the bureaucracy? When are you going to take that step?
Right.
How do you take that step?
Well, you're interviewing me here at the Transition Conference. I have just been to the most inspiring seminar ever about how to work with local authorities, and it's made me realise that actually we are doing that. So our local councillor, Neil Harrison in Bristol, is very much part of our Sustainable Redland group. He's set up a sustainability task force in the City Council. He doesn't badge himself as transition, but he's been involved in our group right from the beginning. Also at City Council level, there's a Green Capital Momentum group that Transition Bristol has a place on. That's been instrumental in making the City Council have a peak oil task force, and they've commissioned a report on peak oil and how it will affect Bristol. So all the public sector institutions have submitted information to that, and it will be coming out in a month or so.
You seem to have covered a lot of ground. How long have you been working on? How long have you actually been on the path?
Sustainable Redland started in 2005, and we had a big open day with our local Member of Parliament, city councillors, 120 people there in 2006. And then when Transition Bristol started, we realised we were part of a bigger family. So we've been going for 4 years. Transition Bristol's been going for 2 years.
What was the one event which, like, there's always talk, there's thought, there's, but what was the one event where you knew you were on the ground? What did you do first to solidify your...
In our Redland Transition group, it was starting the farmers market, because it gave a visible external concrete display of the fact that we could do something. And I mean, we need to take the market onto another level, but it means that every time we've leafleted or been on the radio or been on the television, we've said, well, we started the White Ladies Farmers Market, and people say, oh, that's who you are, because otherwise they think you're the Lib Dems or they think you're the Green Party. And I mean, I think we've got a brand identity now in Redland. We haven't changed the name to Transition when we became part of Transition, but on our website it says we are a registered transition initiative. We're part of the Transition Network with links to that. Love the new Transition Network logo. I think that kind of quiet branding that's not too in your face needs to subtly creep in, and we need to do everything in partnership with other stakeholders, not say this is Transition, this is ours. We're like stealth bombers in a way.
How is this initiative going to prevent itself from becoming bureaucratized, top-heavy? Can you see that? I mean, those things normally happen.
Sustainable Redland has absolutely no risk of becoming bureaucratized or top-heavy, because it is a bunch of people who are going to be living in the area probably until they die, who meet each other all the time in the streets and in the shops, and who have worked out joyful ways of working together. And the fact that we have gardening club where we just go and mill around in someone's garden and swap tips on fruit and veg growing, and we all drink tea together in the community orchard, that's what really makes me feel that there's some long-term future in that group growing and developing.
Your name?
My name's Angela.
Angela what?
Angela Raffle.
How do you spell that?
Same as raffle tickets, R-A-F-F for Freddie, L-E.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.